tutorial I showed you how to create a thread and the two different ways of creating threads inside Java. Now it's to do with inheritance. Java's rule is that you can only inherit one class, and so if you already inherit a class, say like JFrame from Swing in Java, that means you wouldn't be able to inherit the thread class, which would mean you wouldn't be able to create a thread for that class. Now what Java has is another way of doing it, is implements Runnable, and it does the exact same job, but it's just an extra stage you've got to do to create a thread. And because it's implemented Runnable, you're not inheriting the thread object. So you create an instance of the class that implements Runnable, and then you create an object of thread, and then you pass the object of the class that implements Runnable, and you pass it as an argument to the thread. On that, you've created a thread. It's just that one stage more for implementation of Runnable. So I showed you that in the last tutorial, and so this tutorial we're going to look at the method sleep. And so you can put a thread to sleep for so many seconds or so many minutes, and that's what I'm going to show you now. So that's a Runnable. That's a excuse me. That's the main method calling the Runnable, the implemented Runnable class thread, and then the start. And so if I just run the program, you'll see what happens. It prints out implements Runnable because it's coming from this one. Right, and so the code that's inside the run method is going to be the code that's exiting thread. And so if we go back to the main, and we add, before start, if we go td, what we call the thread dot sleep, and it's in milliseconds, so we'll go 1000 for 1 second. And before we get there, we're going to show that the program's running. This here needs to be surrounded by a catch, a try and catch, or you do a throws exception. So surround it. So we're surrounded with a try and catch because the interrupted exception can be thrown here. And so if we save, run the program, you'll see what happens now. It's waiting for the thread, and it waited 1 second. So that's what sleep does, and so I'm going to make it wait a little bit longer, but not too long. It's waiting, and it's waiting. It should be 10 seconds, if my maths is right, but let's see what happens. There you go. And so that's delays working. Right, so that's a simple method there of doing it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a while loop in here, so that when it finishes the thread, it's going to come back up, start the thread again, and do the code again. So it's going to wait for 10 seconds, wait for 10 seconds, wait for 10 seconds. And so to do that, I'm going to put the while loop in here, true, and after here we'll do the close brace. So what I'm going to do is put this outside the while loop, and so if I save, run the program, right, so it's waiting for the thread, it should be 10 seconds. And then it's waiting again, but I never typed it out there, so that's why I put it outside the while loop. In 10 seconds implement Thunderball again on screen. That's another 10 seconds, and another 10 seconds it will be the same again. So there you go, that's another one. And so we'll stop the program. I can make it go faster just to show you that what we're doing is we're delaying the thread that's going for 1 second now because we've changed it, was 10 seconds. Then it wakes up, moves to the next line of code, executes a run program inside here, and once the code's executed in the run method, that's a thread stopped. That's the thread is only for the code inside here, but we can have a for loop, we can have a infinite while loop, so we can do all sorts of things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this now, just 1 second at a time. You see it's faster. So that's us actually got control. So that could be us polling a network for information or reading a file. Instead of doing it constantly and the data's not changed, we can make it sleep for so many seconds and check to see if there's been a change. And when it's been a change, it can send that information back to us, say, oh, something's changed. The same thing happens when you click a button in the Windows. That's a thread that's running in the background, waiting for you to do something. And when you do something, then it will activate the action that you want to happen. And so that's the sleep method in threads. So thank you for your time.